How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about 2020 Democratic presidential hopeful Marianne Williamson and her whole hot mic kerfuffle, which shines a light on how truly vile and hateful lefties truly are, even to those that claim to be their own. Now, there's a whole lot to quote-unquote unpack here, as the cool kids would say, but first, let's get into the clip. In this clip, you'll see what she said. You'll see how she's moving and how she's really feeling about it. After we get done with that, I'll give you some further context, give you some more analysis, give you my 2 cents, and then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Does it say that Fox News is nicer to me than the lefties are?
I'm sorry?
What does it say? That the conservatives are nicer to me?
It's a bizarre world, man.
It's such a bizarre world. You know, I'm such a lefty. I mean, I'm a serious lefty. But I understand why people on the right call them godless. I mean, it's like, I didn't think the left was as mean as the right. They are.
Well, I'm
Okay, so you saw that, you heard that, you see what's going on. Now, I'm not really sure where to begin. It's a lot to get through. Let's start with the very beginning. Let's put some context to the whole situation. She was speaking to Eric Bolling, who used to be on Fox News a while ago, and this show that she was on is called America This Week with Eric Bolling. Now, I think there's also a show called America with Eric Bolling, but America with Eric Bolling is on the Blaze. This was on simply Sinclair broadcast group. They might be on like regular local TV stations across the country, but I digress. My point is that she was speaking to Eric Bolling, who obviously is a conservative. He was on Fox News before, like a couple years ago. And she was expressing how she felt about the interview with him and how nice he was to her during the interview. And she's just like, wow, this is really amazing how nice conservatives are to me, but the liberals are not. I get so much hatred and vitriol from the left. Now, I don't even know why she would get so much hatred and vitriol. Like she said, she is a real lefty, a true lefty, wants reparations, and all those kind of things like that. So I don't even understand where this hatred is coming from. But then again, I thought about it for a moment and I realized we're dealing with the left here. If you're not totally far extremist all the way to the left, they don't like you. You know, some of the more, I say, vocal minorities, I won't say that's the majority of people, but unfortunately, these are the vocal minorities who are going to lead the charge. You got your quote-unquote squad out there, your AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, and Ayanna Pressley. They out there are pretty much just running the show, and everything's being pushed to the far left. If you are a person that has any kind of compassion for a person on the right, or someone that is not totally extremely far left, you may feel the wrath of the far leftist people, which is what I think she was expressing right there with Eric Bolling on the hot mic. Now, she didn't know that she was being audio and video recorded, although the interview had just ended where she was being audio and video recorded. So that might have been a mishap on her end. So Eric Bolling had her come back on the show to kind of like explain what was going on. And this went really weird. And if you want to see that, I'll place that in the description box. Before they started talking, they played that clip I showed you a little bit earlier again. And then she was like, well, why'd you play it? I was told you're not going to play it. And, you know, she wasn't really upset, but she was kind of confused. But he was like, no, we got to play it. You're running for president. I have to play it, but I want you to be able to explain what you really meant by that. Now, when she began to explain what she meant, she also began to backtrack. She was trying to say that, of course, I don't think that people on the right should be mean to me. They're usually like, hey, Marianne, but those on the left, I'm pretty much in competition with. Now, I don't really know who she means. I guess certain people have their certain followers that are going to attack anyone that's not their follower. Maybe that could be it. And Eric Bolling kind of, you know, was being nice and gave her that out. He didn't really challenge her too much on that. But what I think she said was not so much about the competition from the left. I think it's more about how she thought maybe that the right were and how she thought the left were. Maybe, just maybe, my opinion now, maybe she thought that the right were just so mean, hateful, racist, all this, that, and the third, and the left were the opposite. But now she's getting a lot of attacks she figured she would get from the right from the left instead. It's like it's vice versa. It's bizarre world. Everything is backwards from what she had anticipated. And to branch out a little bit here, to zoom out a little bit here, what she said in that hot mic moment is a reality of what's going on right now in the country, if not the world. Those of us that are conservative, we're much nicer than those who are liberal in general. Not all the time. You got some people that are on the right that are very mean and hateful and rude, and the same thing on the left. But generally, you're going to find nicer individuals on the right. The media will have you believe that we're all hateful, racist, or what my man from MS13 NBC said. If you're a black person or you're a so-called person of color and you're conservative, that means you're self-loathing, you're lost, you hate your mama, your daddy, all this, that, and the third. Okay, that's what the media will tell you, but the reality is much different. And then when you're out here talking to people, you understand what reality is, and what the media says no longer has any kind of relevance. So I think, as I close here, that Marianne Williamson simply just revealed the truth about what's happening in this country. The media are trying to spin certain narratives that are not true. No, we are not hateful, racist, xenophobe, homophobe, or whatever kind of other obic oberist that the media says we are on the right. We're regular, everyday folks. We go to work. We take care of our kids. We take care of our communities. That's what we are. You have some nut jobs in there, but if you look at both sides, I think you're going to see good people on both sides, of course, like my man Donald Trump would say, on the left and the right. But I believe you'll have nicer people overall that tend to lean more towards the right, or at least center right. That's just my opinion based upon my observation. I could be wrong here, but I doubt it. And I think that if Marianne Williamson could hear me right now speaking, I think that she couldn't really disagree in her heart. And that's pretty much all I got to say. What say you? Do you think that Marianne Williamson was correct in her hot mic moment, that the left, they seem to be so mean and angry, all this, that, and the third, but the right, they're very nice, even to a lefty, okay? Eric Bolling made the point that during the election, there was a lot of infighting within conservatives because you got the competition going. You got Ted Cruz trying to defeat Trump and Ben Carson and everybody else in the mix. So there would be some negative comments that came from a conservative towards another conservative, but I don't think it's to the level of what Marianne Williamson is saying. Never did I see conservatives out there in the street beating people down, throwing rocks in the building, setting stuff on fire, spitting on people, punching women in the face from a grown man. I've never really seen anything like that from the right. As far as I can remember, the violence comes from the left. So when you have violent people that are out here hurting anybody indiscriminately, if they're not totally on their side, or maybe even if they are, it's not a far cry to suggest that maybe those same kind of individuals are the same ones that are giving Marianne Williamson all this grief. It kind of would just make sense. I mean, at a certain point, 1 + 1 is still 2. Do you think that what she said was correct, incorrect? Where do you think I guess you would call it kindness arrow generally points right now in American politics? I think most people fall right in the center. So that's probably where the arrow is, right around. But if it had to be one side or the other that had any kind of favorability in the situation, I think it'd most certainly be the right. And based upon what I've observed over the past 2 years, it's very hard to dispute that opinion. But whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.